Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back. In today's video, we're taking a look at the new Pokémon TCG Battle Academy box. Interested to learn more about the contents of this box. Really cool idea behind it, giving new players to the Pokémon TCG an avenue to play with 3 new decks. Also really like the idea that there's supposed to be some new promo cards in here, but just overall interested to see what the contents of this box look like and see how it stacks up both for new players to the Pokemon TCG but also existing players. So let's dive in and take a look at what comes with the Pokemon TCG Battle Academy. So definitely a lot to parse through with the Battle Academy box. A number of really nice things though inside. First off here, you'll notice there are 3 tutorial guides for players that are really new and starting out with the Pokemon TCG. So depending on whether you're the player that gets the Armor Rouge deck to start with or the Pikachu deck, you take your guidebook and it walks you through not only how to play the Pokemon TCG in general, but how to play your specific deck. The cards are sorted in a particular order for each of those decks to line up and allow the guide to really walk you through in detail what's going on and the moves you should be making. Once you've mastered the Armor Rouge and the Pikachu deck, then the idea is that you go to the Darkrai guidebook here basically, which is a rules reference and kind of guides you into more advanced play within the Pokemon TCG. Now, in addition to the guidebooks, you get a number of damage counters. You can see there's a read first sheet, which basically talks about like what I said there, where you're taking the board out, you're starting with either Armor Rouge or Pikachu as your deck, and you're walking through the guidebook. You obviously need to use the damage counters. So, they've really tailored this to a new player experience, which I think is cool. You can see here the Armor Rouge deck box. Really like the look of these deck boxes. I think they're all really nice. Love the hologram bits in the background there. Before we look at the cards in the Armor Rouge deck, really love the coin that comes in the Battle Academy. I'm a big fan of these basically collector coins. I think all of the images on them are really cool, and this will be an excellent addition to our collection. Really cool artwork. Now, as I mentioned, there are the 3 decks. So for the Armor Rouge deck, we'll look at this in a little more detail and then sort of gradually less detail as we move on. But we've got a number of energy cards. We've got Armor Rouge EX, Youngster, Nemona, Switch, Charcadet, Potion, Skeledirge, Houndoom, Great Ball, Mela, Torkoal, Houndour, Fuecoco, Larvesta, Nestball, Volcarona, Picnicker, Jacques, and Crocolore. Now, what you'll notice here is this is definitely very familiar to the contents of a battle deck. All of the item and supporter cards feel very much in that vein and are largely what you will see in the most recent round at least, but in a number of the battle deck boxes, they have all of these item and supporter cards, so nothing too new there. Some differences in the Pokemon cards. It is worth noting that you'll see on the Armor Rouge cards a little outline of a player at the bottom here, and then it shows where in the deck this is supposed to be located for the, sort of the predetermined card order when you're playing through the tutorial guides. So nice that they included that, but it's worth noting that that is on the cards. Now, when we go to one of the other decks, so we can look at Pikachu here. So we've got the Pikachu deck box. Again, really love the look of it. Now, for this particular deck, I didn't break everything out quite as detailed because the item and supporter cards are basically pretty much identical to what you're getting in the Armor Rouge deck. We've got Pikachu EX, Wattrel, Electrode, Voltorb, Flaffy, Ampharos, Mareep, Rotom, Miraidon, Kilowattrel, energy cards, potion. Well, so basically this is the stack of items. I didn't break them out. Like I said, you're getting the same Nest Ball, Great Ball, Switch card in there. Nothing too earth-shattering. And then we've got the supporter pile here. Again, lumped these together because there's not really differences that are super material in the cards that are given for this particular deck compared to the Armor Rouge deck. One difference that is probably worth noting, the Pikachu deck does not have a Mela supporter card. Just worth keeping that in mind. But, as you can see, we're dealing largely with the same type of support cards here. And it's really just comes down to the Pokemon that are different in this deck. Makes it easier for teaching. I sort of get that. Really love the look of the Pikachu EX card here. And, again, some familiar faces in the Pokemon found in this deck. But, overall, some really nice things here. And I'm glad that they've at least offered a variety in terms of the, basically the element or type of the Pokemon for each deck. Now, last but not least, we've got the Darkrai deck. You can see this is the advanced deck, and the Pokemon included in here, we've got an awesome Darkrai EX card. Love the artwork there. Salandit, Salazzle, Kingambit, Yveltal, Bisharp, Ponyard, Cyclizar, Seviper. We've got a nice energy stack, and then when it comes to the supporter and item cards, basically looking at the same things as the other two decks, with the exception of the one Boss's Orders card that's included in here. So nice to see a different type being used for the Pokemon in this particular deck. But it is unfortunate, I think, that they've gone with basically the same supporter and item cards here, as it just doesn't really give you the full potential that you could potentially sort of get from an experience like this with an alternative deck. I understand what they're trying to do. They want to sort of minimize differences, get people really familiar with the basics when they're learning stuff in the academy. But, and I guess probably also they want to avoid people being able to mine this set, as a way to really get some extra special cards and to get a number of duplicates of specific useful item and supporter cards. But, still feels like there was room for improvement there. But, overall, I think cool for a newcomer to the Pokemon TCG. And, there are some interesting things in here for more experienced players. Love the EX cards, Pikachu EX, the Armor Rouge EX, the Darkrai EX, all three of those amazing artwork, great looking cards. And, like I mentioned, the deck boxes are great. I think they've done some excellent stuff, especially with that hologram in the background. And huge fan of the coin. I think this is an awesome image, and glad to have this new coin in our collection. But, Beyond that, it's going to really depend on the type of player you are and how big your collection is, whether you find value in the other cards that are included in each of these decks. I think there's definitely some useful ones here, some things that do pop up in decks that people are using competitively, but this is definitely geared towards a new player with slightly less interesting details for existing players. I'm still pretty happy about this personally and adding it to our collection. I think there will be some use for these various trainer cards, the energy cards, and possibly even some of the Pokemon cards, but at a minimum, nice to get those 3 EX cards. And it is worth noting these all look like they should be legal cards for use in a tournament. They've got the proper sort of background on the card, but I haven't heard anything whether there's any issues with using these, but I would assume not, given the way the cards are set up and the fact that they're basically what you would see with normal Pokemon TCG cards, with the exception of the little figure in the corner here showing you how to shuffle the card, where the card shows up in the pre-shuffled deck when you're going through the tutorial. One other thing, we should take a quick look at the board. So I'm going to just quickly bring all these cards together so you can see the overall sort of look of the game board underneath here. And as promised, here's the clear board space. You can see this is basically giving you all the information a new player needs in terms of where does my active go, where do my prize cards go, bench, deck, discard pile, etc. Little cheat sheet here for what you can do during your turn. And this is basically, half of this is like the mat you get in the battle deck boxes. So definitely a lot of utility to this for somebody who's new to the Pokemon TCG, but other than that, not really a useful item. But, overall, quite happy with the contents of this particular box. Great for new players. I think it's cool that you get the 3 decks to try out and play around with. When it comes to more experienced players, I still think there's some value here. Great to pick up those EX cards. I think they look awesome. Not 100% sure, as I mentioned, on whether you can use these cards in a competitive deck. I don't necessarily see anything that would tell me you couldn't, given that the backs of them look normal, but definitely something to check out if you're considering doing it. But I'm happy with the box here. I think there was definitely some great collectible items in here for people who are more experienced. And I think that anything they can release to, sort of get more players into the Pokemon TCG and learning how the game works, the better off we are. So really happy with this as a product. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.